Am găsit-o! ALPBACK is a town in western Austria in the state of Tyrol. The earliest written record of the name ALPBACK comes from the 1150, although human settlement is known to have begun there before and around the year 1000, and a bronze axe found at Steiberger in 1860 suggests that the root was already in use in the Hallstatt period. Christianity was first brought to the region in the 7th and 8th centuries by Irish and Scottish monks, and the patron saint of the parish church is in fact Saint Oswald, a former king of Northumbria. At the beginning of the 15th century, deposits of copper and silver were discovered on the Gratzelspitz and Schattsberg, and at that time the Fugger merchant family from Augsburg had control over mining operation in Schwatz and Kitzbühel, and they extended their activities to include the ALPBACK Valley. The Boglerhof housed the Fugger offices and was also seat of the mining court. In those days, ALPBACK already had two inns, the Boglerhof and the Jakober Inn, where the men of the village would go to drink spirits, such as schnapps. By the middle of the 19th century, productivity at the mines had declined to the stage where they had to be closed. Vorder Unterberg Farm, which was built in 1636 by local carpenters and was used as a farmhouse until 1952, stands at the edge of the forest above the little church in ALPBACK. Today the building is a mountain farming museum, and the exhibits include the old parlor, chapel, a combined kitchen and smokehouse, and over 800 artifacts of daily life and work. The road leading up the valley to ALPBACK was not built until 1926, and the isolated location of the village led to the development of a distinctive style of architecture and furnishings, and also enabled the local folk traditions to be preserved for much longer than in most of the valleys of the Tyrol. Tourists first began arriving in ALPBACK at the beginning of the 20th century, and by 1938 the village had accommodation for 110 visitors. Since then, this figure has increased to 2,500, and ALPBACK now attracts some 22,000 visitors in summer and about the same in winter, for an annual total of 300,000 nights. Tourism is the main source of income for today's 2,300 local residents, but there are still 105 working farms in ALPBACK, the same number as 100 years ago. Since 1945, ALPBACK has been the venue for the ALPBACK European Forum, an annual two-week conference of leading figures from the worlds of science, business, arts and politics. The forum and the participation of so many people who have shaped the thinking of their times has given ALPBACK the nickname the Village of Thinkers. The first conference hall in ALPBACK was built in the mid-1950s and named after the Austrian poet Paula von Preradovic, who wrote the words for the Austrian national anthem. The plenary hall was named after the physicist and Nobel Prize winner Erwin Schrödinger. He lies buried in the ALPBACK cemetery. In 1999, the new ALPBACK Congress Center was opened, together with the 55th European Forum. With its combination of exciting architecture and a minimum environmental footprint, the main architectural feature is a spiral-shaped gallery with floor-to-ceiling glazing for a unique view of the spectacular mountain backdrop. ALPBACK is also a well-known ski resort, and its quiet slopes are well groomed and provide beginner to intermediate runs with many off-pistes as well as unpatrolled Route 5, which is popular with the more advanced skiers. A new lift has been opened in 2006-2007, which is a gondola and allows people to move from inner ALPBACK to near the top of the Wiedersberg Horn, the mountain used for all of the runs. ALPBACK is also more popular with skiers than snowboarders due to the lack of extreme off-piste, but is a very popular place for beginner boarders or those looking to rekindle their boarding passion. There are 3 ski schools in the village. As I pass one picturesque wooden chalet after another, each one overflowing with red geraniums, I feel as if I've been transported into the pages of a fairy tale picture book. ALPBACK is said to be the prettiest village in Austria, but as I discovered on a recent trip to the Tyrol, there is so much more to this gem than picture postcard scenery and pretty houses tumbling down the hillside, although this alone would be reasons enough to visit. Since 1953, all buildings in the village have had to be built in the traditional style, which no doubt contributed to ALPBACK being awarded the title the most beautiful village in Austria. There are over 20 hereditary farms in ALPBACK. The designation of Erbach, hereditary farm, is awarded to families who have owned and managed a farm for several generations and for at least 200 years in a direct line. They thus have the right to bear the honorary title Erbach on a plaque. 3 of these families have run their farms for over 400 years old. In ALPBACK, people actually speak German, like all Tyroleans and Austrians, but you come across words which are barely used anywhere else. The dialect in the Albachtal is also special and differs significantly from other areas in the Tyrol. Over the course of time, the dialect in the Albachtal has hardly changed. The people of Albach call themselves Aibeccarina or Aibeka, so anyone who says Albacher can be a real Albacher. Albach furniture can be found not only in museums but also in private households throughout the Tyrol and Bavaria. A number of outstanding chests and boxes have been preserved in Albach. In addition to the quality of the craftsmanship, the furniture is adorned by distinguished painting. Albach furniture is always associated with the Albach family Pletzaker, who devoted themselves to furniture making for generations since 1716. For a long time, the family was considered the only craftsman's business to possess and trade license. On festive occasions, the Albachers proudly wear their traditional costume. Blue, black and green are the dominating colors in the women's festive garments. Whoever decides to wear a traditional costume wants to fashionably express their attachment to the area in which they live. Of course, every valley community has its own traditional costume. The ALPBACK costume is known for its red and white floral ornament on the back.
De pe munții Austriei